What's going on, y'all? What it is. So let's go ahead and slide on these topics. And the first thing I want to discuss is the fact that there was a man who came forward this past October the 14th and he filed a lawsuit against Diddy. And he claimed that Diddy actually put something in his drink and then essayed and R'd him. Now, of course, he filed under the pseudonym John Doe. Now, we don't know who this person is, but he spoke out for the first time, right? With some voice alterations going on here. Now, according to the lawsuit, he was employed by a private security firm in 2007 when he was asked to work at one of Diddy's white parties at the producer's estate in East Hampton, New York. And then he goes on to say that Diddy provided him with 2 drinks. And after the second drink is when he started to feel extremely ill. And then one thing led to another. I want you guys to check out this soundbite and I'll be back.
According to your lawsuit, you were hired by a security firm to work security at one of the infamous white parties that was thrown by Sean Combs in the Hamptons. What was that experience like?
At first, he was incredibly friendly, very gracious.
So you had a friendly chat, and then, according to your lawsuit, at some point later in the night, Sean Combs himself offered you a drink. This didn't come from staff or someone holding a tray of drinks, it came from him directly.
Correct. The first drink started to have some effect on me, and I just thought, wow, these are really strong drinks. It wasn't until the second drink, and it was already too late, that I realized that there was something wrong with the drinks. Sadly, Sean Combs was waiting in the wings. He was watching from some sort of vantage point. And once I was in a helpless position and he was sure that he was in a position of power, then he took advantage of the situation.
You allege that you were forcibly pushed into an SUV by Sean Combs. That act alone, according to your lawsuit, left you in considerable pain. And then once inside the vehicle, your lawsuit says plaintiff was held down by Combs, who overpowered him while he struggled to escape due to the effects of the drugs in his system. And it goes on to say that he sodomized you.
I was screaming. I was telling him to stop. It was incredibly painful. And he was acting like it was nothing. And he seemed to be disconnected from it. But it was abusive beyond belief.
All right, so you guys just heard all of that. Now I want to take the time to read you all this. It says here, there were a number of inconsistencies between the details shared by Doe in his interview with CNN and the original complaint filed in October. The original suit says the assault took place in 2006, not 2007, and that Doe had never been married. In 2006, Combs' white party was held in St. Tropez. In 2007, it was held in the Hamptons, which is where Doe's allegations take place. After CNN pointed out the discrepancies, Doe's attorneys filed an amended complaint with the court, changing those details and acknowledging mistakes were made in the rush to file. All right, so you guys just heard all of that. And listen, this is the thing. He went on to say that he couldn't even tell his wife of the horrific incident that took place because he was too embarrassed. And then later on, he changed up his story and they find out that he's never been married. Now, this is my thing. I'm not trying to discredit his story, but if you can remember such a horrific incident that took place between you and Diddy, you can't remember the details of your relationship, that you was actually married. Now, he also said that he reported it to the security firm that he worked for and they just ignored it and he was fired. He never worked for that security firm again. Now, this is my thing, right? Listen, I'm not being biased here. I'm just being honest. I've always told you guys, I don't want anybody to actually do time for a crime that they never committed. And we have to be honest here. Everything that comes out about Diddy+Jay Z or whoever within the celebrity realm doesn't mean that it's actually facts. Now, I have a question for this John Doe. And my question is, if you were hired to be security for Diddy's white party, why are you drinking on the job? Because you were hired to protect Diddy and the other celebrities to make sure everything was running smoothly within that venue. I don't care if Diddy made you comfortable and said it's okay if you have a couple of drinks or whatever. You should have remained the constant professional and declined to drink. Now, this is the thing. Just because you did take those 2 drinks from Diddy doesn't mean that you should have been allegedly violated. No, it doesn't mean that at all. But I'm just saying, you don't drink on the job. At least that's how we roll where I come from. No matter what type of setting it is, you do not drink on the job. So it's going to be interesting to see how this particular lawsuit unfolds. But anyway, let's move along. And I want to talk about the Alexander brothers being arrested. So Alon and Orrin Alexander, they were arrested in South Florida for charges of SA and R, both in Florida and also in New York City. There's another brother by the name of Tal. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. If it's not, that's what his name is today. But anyway, he's been charged as well. Now, there's also another man by the name of Ohad Fisherman that they're looking for right now, and he remains at large. Now, the Alexander brothers, they're real estate tycoons. They have worked with some of your biggest celebrities, from the Kardashians to Jennifer Lopez. I believe they brokered a few deals for Jay Z, and so forth and so on. Now, the charges against the Alexander brothers fall along the lines of what Diddy has been charged with, right? They all been accused of putting things in victims' drinks and things of that nature and taking advantage of the situation. And these alleged incidents date back all the way to 2010. Now, what's interesting about this dynamic is the same powerful lawyer that brought these charges against Diddy and Damian Williams is the same lawyer that basically is bringing these charges against the Alexander brothers. So my question is Diddy snitching? I mean, because, you know, in Miami, the Alexander brothers considered that to be their playground, and they play hard. And even if they weren't associated with Diddy and committing crimes with Diddy, it's not above the realm of possibility that Diddy knows of them and knows about how they roll. So I want you guys to check out this clip, and I'll be back.
Federal prosecutors are alleging 3 brothers used their wealth and positions to entice and dozens of women.
2 of those brothers are luxury real estate brokers here in the city. Alice Gaynor covers courts and public safety and has more now from officials. Prosecutors allege 37-year-old twins Alon, Orrin, and their older brother, 38-year-old Tal Alexander, worked together and with others to drug, assault, and rape dozens of victims.
The defendants allegedly used their wealth and status to recruit and pay for the travel of their intended victims.
Orrin and Tal, prosecutors say, are luxury real estate agents in New York City, Miami, and other locations. In 2019, Tal gave CBS a tour of this Manhattan penthouse.
With these views,
Alon, they say, is an executive for a private security firm owned by the family. The indictment charges them with conspiracy to commit trafficking and by force, fraud, or coercion. It's alleged they've been operating this scheme since 2010, promising romantic relationships, luxury travel and experiences, parties and events to lure women they met by chance, or sharing photographs of women to select those they found sufficiently attractive to invite, allegedly contacting them through social media or dating applications. The indictment also claims they obtained drugs they agreed to provide to the women, including
cocaine, mushrooms, and as we allege, these drugs caused some of the women to be physically unable to fight back or to escape.
It's alleged they sometimes drugged victims' drinks. The Alexander brothers were arrested in Miami and face separate state felony charges along with their cousin.
The victim stated she recalled Alon and Orrin Alexander, the 2 brothers, arguing about who was going to first.
Officials are urging any other potential victims to contact them. In Lower Manhattan, Alice Gaynor, CBS News, New York.
All right, so you guys just saw and heard all of that. Now, the reason why I say that Diddy knows probably how the Alexander brothers get down is because of the fact that Diddy has a mansion down there in Miami, close to where the Alexander brothers like to play, Star Island and things like that. And I'm not saying that it's facts, but I've never heard of these guys. I've never not heard of one accusation involving them until now. So I'm just asking the question, is it possible that Diddy could be giving up names? Now, what I'm going to be paying close attention to is if the Alexander brothers are able to make bail. Because I know a lot of people say, well, the reason why Diddy is not making bail is because of the things that he's done in the past by intimidating witnesses and things of that nature. But my argument is that these individuals are still threats to women. So, like, if you're going to keep Diddy behind bars, keep everybody behind bars, because they still pose a potential threat to somebody. But anyway, I want to move along and talk about Jay Z, because Carmen Bryan has came out and spoke out as it pertains to the case dealing with Jay Z. Now, Carmen Bryan has a baby with Nas, and they dated for quite some time in the 90s and things like that. But Carmen was cheating on Nas with Jay Z. These two had a fling from 1995 to 2004. Now, when Nas and Jay-Z fell out and they dissed one another, when Nas dropped Ether, Jay-Z was just totally embarrassed. And who wouldn't be, right? And so he came with a song called Super Ugly when he made a reference to allegedly skeeting on Nas's baby car seat. That was so disrespectful, even Jay-Z's mom didn't like that, and I believe they ended up taking the song off the air. So when Jay-Z said what he said, right, it didn't only disrespect Nas and Carmen, it disrespected Nas and Carmen's seed. And so Carmen couldn't get past that, and so she ended their romantic relationship. And so this is what Carmen had to say. She posted this on her story. She says, "These days, people don't defend what is right, they defend who they like, and that's why we call you groupie." Then she goes in to reference a lyric that Jay-Z used in a feature with Kanye West, and it says, "Threatening to R and pillage your village, women and And so I guess she was alluding to the fact that Jay-Z was admitting in a song that he did with Kanye that this is what he's capable of. Now, Carmen has a right to her opinion, and I'm glad that she's taking a stand and she's standing with the alleged victims. There's nothing wrong with that. But one thing that we do know is that he didn't have to R you because you gave it up to him religiously for 10 years while you were dating Nas. Now, I do want to bring to y'all's attention another conversation piece that's happening on X, and it all pertains to what the alleged Jane Doe is alleging against Jay-Z. So she said that this situation that transpired took place back in 2000. And so a lot of people are pointing out the fact that Jay-Z had gotten in trouble in 1999 because a guy by the name of Rivera was sliced up. And in the year 2000, Jay-Z was still out on bail, right? Now, the story behind that is that Jay-Z confronted for leaking his music. And so all of a sudden the conversation went left and ended up getting poked up several times. And so came out later on and said that Jay-Z wasn't responsible for it, but we do know that Jay-Z turned himself in 1999 and he posted a $50,000 bail. So I want to read you this. It says, on December the 2nd, 1999, Jay-Z turned himself into police for the slicing and was placed under arrest before being released on $50,000 bail. The rapper, who was indicted in Manhattan criminal court in January 2000, initially pleaded not guilty, but later copped out to third-degree AS in exchange for 3 years probation. Hov would later address the incident in his 2010 book, Decoded, albeit without mentioning Rivera by name. While Jay admits approaching Rivera in an angry manner, he doesn't admit to being responsible for slicing or that it even took place, simply stating that all hell had broke loose. And so a lot of people are trying to say that Jay-Z cannot be that stupid to commit a crime in 1999. You're still out on bail, you know what I'm saying, for this particular situation. And in 2001, he ended up pleading guilty and he got 3 years of probation. So they're saying it doesn't make sense for him to go out and commit this egregious crime against Jane Doe when you already have another case looming over your head and you haven't been sentenced for that particular crime yet. And so, listen, I'm not saying that Jay-Z could have been that stupid thinking that he could get away with it. So again, I'm not discrediting Jane Doe's story, but you know, a lot of people are just saying, hey, it doesn't make sense. But anyway, I'm gonna let this go right here. I want you guys to drop down in the comments and let me know what you think about everything that was discussed within this video. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and if you're new here, consider subbing to the channel. I'll get with you guys later. Peace.